Welcome everybody to another episode of the discussion. This week, different venue, different location, and we've got more guys in this. I guess you could call it a studio makeshift, and we're really looking forward to an interactive discussion. And yeah, this time we sort of flip the roles. I'm going to be the one leading the discussion, and we'll get right into it. And maybe before we start, let's just introduce ourselves. So, guys. Just tell us your name and anything interesting about you. If there's nothing interesting, then you just tell us your name. Let's get going.
My name is John. I skate. I guess that's interesting. That's something I enjoy.
Africa, there's no ice, so that is interesting.
This is skateboarding, not ice skating.
Still, we don't have skating rings. Still interesting. All right, next.
So my name's Keon. I kind of do like music videos as kind of like a side hobby. And just like socializing with like influential people and just learning as much as I can from them.
Okay. Which influential person have you socialized with?
Nick Kyrgios, MMA fighters, Bam Bam Tiovasa.
Explains your temper. I get it.
My name is Patrice ATMAR. I like public transport and I like music from the 80s and the 90s because music from the 80s and the 90s, in my opinion, they're very nice and tasty, and I really love Sydney public transport, like trains, buses, ferries, and light rail, you name it.
Okay, you should get out more. I'm joking. All right. So we're gonna get straight into it. It's really nice to meet you guys. You guys look like interesting young men, and hope we're gonna have an interesting discussion. So straight away, I think for me, the question I'd have for you guys to start off, maybe let me put it this way. Back in 1988, Will Smith released a song called Parents Just Don't Understand. And this was it was a hit with young people, as you can imagine. And
Quite the hit.
Yeah, you can imagine. So this is now almost more than 30 years later. And I just wonder, is that still the same thing? When I was growing up, we had that sense that, they didn't get us, times had changed. They were so strict, things were not like they should be or like how they were for them, So many things had changed and we just felt they didn't get us. Now the question I would have for you guys, and I really want to know, because it seems that disconnect remains. Do we as parents, I'm now a parent of some toddlers, and you guys have got your parents and how you relate to your parents. Do parents in general not understand, or do we understand? Where are we missing, or where are we missing you guys? What do we not get? I guess what I want to know from you guys. Maybe you can just take turns and we'll take it from there.
I feel like they're trying too hard to understand us, to the point where it just seems like they just want to be our friends and just be like, oh, don't worry, I understand, jump in the same, you know what I mean? Because they kind of grew up with for Gen X and the millennial generation of parents, they grew up more rebellious in a sense, you know what I mean, compared to the 40s and 50s, where you got the greater generation. So they grew up more strict in the household, where it's more conservative in a sense. But they grew up in an environment and in a culture where it's more free thinking and rebellious. So they're basically sometimes, and I'm not saying all parents like that, but they're just trying to in a sense relate to us in a sense, and it just comes out as being forceful. You know what I mean? It's a bit cringe. If you know what I mean.
It's a bit.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, they just try too hard to understand us.
Okay, that's interesting, because I know from when we were growing up, I think our parents didn't want to have anything to do with us. They didn't want to understand. So maybe we are now overcompensating and trying to, now we really need to have a relationship with you and understand. Because I think when we were growing up, one of the challenges was they don't understand. They don't even want to know what's going on. So now we want to know, and apparently that's a problem. So maybe we can hear from you other guys, and we can try and understand.
I wouldn't consider it a bad thing, obviously, because parents have to be involved in the children's lifestyle.
Yeah.
But there is a point where a parent gets over too involved in it, because there is a limit for because how would I explain this?
Maybe give an example, what is going overboard, because I think
Overboard is for a parent would be just absolutely obsessing with the child. Obviously the child needs a bit of independence. As soon as they get older, they need more of it. Just so they can go out to the world and obviously not be shocked when it all hits on them, just to be by themselves. That's what I think.
Okay, you said an interesting word, independence. You know, when I hear that and I'm thinking about my children, I'm like, okay, I understand we
Yeah.
do need to pull back, but when you, and I guess being on this side of the fence, it's like you're talking about independence. Like, how much is independence? When I look at it, I'm like, look, there are things you don't know, kid. So, me keeping such a close distance, I'm looking out for you, and then you want us to be further back. So, where do we strike the balance? Because we're coming from a place of experience.
Yeah.
You're coming from a place of, look, I was a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. I want my freedom. But I know that what comes with this freedom
Yeah.
is dangerous. So where do we strike that balance?
Well, for me, like, um, for a parent, I think it would be good to interact with the child and stuff, and like to let your child know, hey, if you go out in the world, this is gonna be dangerous, and this. But maybe these guys, as they were saying, like, it's a bit kind of forceful, but maybe you let the child know. Obviously, to a toddler, you don't just say, okay, you can go out into the free world. But like maybe once they're like 18, 17, you can say, okay, I'll let you have the choice to do this, what you want to do. And like they can experience for themselves. But at least if the parent has done their job on telling the child so and this will happen, you should be careful. I think the parent would have done a good job, I think.
Okay, Patrice, maybe we can hear from you. What do you think?
About this person, about parent thinking, because every single child, wants freedom, but the reality is that because reasons why our parents sometimes roll us because our parents care for us, reasons why they punish us because they love us, they don't want us to go through and what you said about freedom is like getting danger. But at the same time, when we have freedom, just because when our parents give us freedom, it doesn't mean for us to go over it too much, but like not to abuse the freedom too much. For example, like if I'm given the freedom to go out to go out somewhere, and it does mean for me to go all the time. This is just an example. We all want freedom. Every single parent in the world loves the child, and we have to like respect the freedom that they gave. And what I mean by that is that we have to like keep it over the limit and respect it. That's all I can say.
Okay. Maybe a question for you guys. What is because I'm hearing, this talk of freedom. What is look, it's important to you, so I'm really trying to understand it and, help us out. What is a good time, like talking of freedom, I think maybe restriction. So what is a good time for like a curfew? What is an appropriate time? You guys are all in year 12, right? So what is a good time? I don't know, maybe we can start there. Like that's something that is concrete that you guys would think that, look, hey, if I'm not home by 1 o'clock, you shouldn't worry. I mean, maybe that's what you think, but I think that's crazy. But what do you think?
This may seem like bias in a sense because a lot of us like to stay out. Like we like to go out. Like for an example, like last night I was with my friends at Razil at Town Center, right? Just like enjoying it and like a night, eating stuff like that. We stayed out like a little bit too late because like we lost track of time. And then like my mom is just like texting me, where are you at? What are you doing? Are you doing drugs? Nah.
Like what time was this? You said a little too late. What time was this?
It was only like 10:30. 10:30 to 11. I mean, like for my mom, she would have been like easy going on me if this was like a Saturday night, but it was like a Sabbath night, so she's very strict on that. You know what I mean? Because we respect the Sabbath, and she's just telling me like just come home like this and that. You know what I mean? And that's relatively for us is like an early time. I can respect it. I'll just let her know like yeah I'm coming like you know what I mean, like I'm gonna come on time. This and that, but like. Just like the over like kind of like this helicopter parent mentality, which I'm not saying my mom is, but like, but yeah, it's just like that's an example that I can use for like other parents, whether like they're too involved in their kids' lives, whether they feel like they're getting checked constantly, and there's also like the other opposite extreme end was just like their parents are like not involved in their kids' lives at all, like they're doing all-nighters. They're sleeping around at their friend's house constantly, this and that, like they don't really care, you know what I mean? So just something for like and to meet like a middle ground, like it's just like be honest with your kid and just set like a time, like if we're gonna be specific about it, maybe like 10:30 at night time, because like especially if you don't know their friends, you know what I mean. So if you because like if you know their friends like what they get into, you know, this and that, maybe staying up late won't be like a good idea because of what they can get into. But if you know them, like let's say from church or from school, or like grew up around the neighborhood, you know their parents and stuff like that, then like a little bit of trust can be put into it. You know what I mean? Especially if they don't have anything like prior to do, like to get up early in the morning and to do this and that. So yeah, just like meet in the middle ground and just like be honest and like set a time and like know what's going on and just like let it go from there.
Can I jump in quickly?
Yeah.
I think a good time, I think every child would like want to stay up and enjoy the company with their friends. But like all our parents maybe from experience, or they just know that like, or even the child would know like staying up too late, it was going to have problems when you're older and stuff like that. But as like, for us, you just want to enjoy the time with your friends, because like sometimes it's the only time you get to see them or something, so you just want to enjoy the time with your friend. But like a good time I think is, I would say 11, just to be safe. No, but you'll get sufficient sleep. At least to get sufficient sleep is important, because like we all know sleep is important, so at least like a good time.
You know, like judging back to what you said about trust, I think that's very important with it. Because my thing is like I see curfews as like something with trust. Obviously, not every child is, you know, every child is different. Like some might be more responsible than others, as he said. Others just might not be, you know, wherever they want. Others like know what's bad and wrong, like time and place, obviously. And you know that really depends on like how the parent sees it. If they trust their child, obviously they're gonna be more lenient because they know they're doing the right thing. But if you have like I want to say bad child, like if like a misguided child, sometimes they may end up doing something that, you know, they might regret in the future, or just it's just like something.
So what time?
Like in my opinion, my time would be like around 11. It depends on like what day it is. Like if the weekends, maybe a bit later. If it's
Later than 11.
maybe it really depends like on the events.
Look,
Like,
the reason I asked this question is because I think it's an easy one, because you can give an answer that's not ambiguous. You can say a number. So that's what I want. You know, I think it would help. You guys are 17, 18 years old and you're telling us 11 o'clock. Okay. Then we as parents do not need to evaluate. Or maybe you're thinking 11, and maybe because you're on camera, you're thinking, I really would want 1 o'clock. I don't know.
like, make us seem good, you know?
I think 10:30 is safe. 10:30 is safe.
Okay, around that.
10:30
So come down to 10:30.
Yeah,
Good
10:30
job.
is safe.
It's in the middle.
Keep it up, we can get to 8:30. I'm playing. Patrice, what do you think? What time? 9 o'clock?
So I'm coming back home at 9 o'clock with you, when you.
Okay, what time do you think?
What time do you think? What?
That you would be a good time for you to, like, for your curfew time?
Like for me to have my good time.
Like what time to come back, like when you're going out.
Go out.
For example, like if I go out,
What time should you come back?
probably 10 or 9, not later, because later can be a bit unsafe and sometimes our parents get worried. For example, like let's say if I go out with my friends, let's say to Macca's let's say if I leave home at 5 o'clock, and if I go out, let's say for 1 hour, and if we make it to a promise, if all of us as friends make a promise to all of our parents, say we're going to go out for 1 hour, then we have to do it for 1 hour, because we can't just abuse it and then stay, because I know we enjoy the company of being together with our friends, eating together, but you have to stay beyond the limit and not go beyond the limit and stay under the limit. So therefore I think that it's better to be back at home around 9 or 10. It's more safer, because if you go beyond, it's not good.
Okay, interesting. So you even all don't necessarily agree on the time, and you guys, like we're saying, you're year 12s. So we're hearing like maybe 10 o'clock would be a reasonable time. And I think it was you mentioned something, or was it Kian, I can't remember.
Names are contradicting, right?
It's easy
But I
to
can't
mix
remember
up.
who mentioned it, and we're talking about friends. Now, was it you? Someone mentioned something about...
I think I mentioned like trust and friends.
Yes, it was you.
I think it's both of them.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
But so then, my question around this issue is because you mentioned something that pricked up my ears, was like, If your parents know your friends, then maybe they can give you more time. But if they don't know them, then I was like, whoa, okay. Now, on the not knowing, I think that's where maybe as parents our concern really comes up. Like, you're going out on a weekend night to hang out with people we don't know, and I think like there's context to it. Like maybe you're going to a church youth function on a Saturday night. I think as a parent I'd be okay. Okay, it's a church youth function. Of course you don't know anyone there, but what you're going there for is like a safe thing that I can trust that what's going to happen is okay. Nothing, no craziness, no silliness, no danger to you. So I'm okay with that as someone who's your guardian. But then when I don't know, I mean, who knows? And you said, no, I'll be back in an hour. And you'd be like, it's now 12 midnight and I don't know who you're with. I mean, from your guys' point of view, is that still okay? Like to be going out with people that your parents don't know? Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, I can empathize with that. Just imagining like me, like let's say like I'm a parent, I only have like let's say like an only child, and they're going out like on a weekend. I don't know where they're going. They could have just went somewhere else. You know what I mean? This is a good kid we're talking about. Like doesn't get into trouble, this and that. But like they're hanging around like with a different crowd that you don't know. That's a call for concern, and that's when like the curfew time is set a bit earlier, just so like if they stay like a little bit time with them, like you don't know like what kind of stuff is gonna happen. So I mentioned that in a sense of security, because that's like the main reason why the parents are like concerned. Like that's the only reason why curfew can exist for like a kid, because like you don't know like who they're hanging around with. You know what I mean? Or like what kind of like things that they're gonna get into,
Or what they're doing.
yeah, what they're doing, or like what's gonna get them involved.
Interesting question, because I was just thinking about that. What will you guys be doing at 10 o'clock that you can't do during the day?
Okay, so we're just gonna wrap up.
No questions about that.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, just like, because here's the thing, it depends on like how, because we see it as kind of like we just want to be entertained for like the night. So at nighttime, we just like, we get to like express like our goofy side pretty much. Like we just like get on the trolley or just do something silly that like people can't see in public. You know what I mean? Like we can't do it during like class time or like at school. You know what I mean? So and mostly.
So you want to be naughty?
Not in the sense of being naughty. We
Getting
want.
on a trolley is not something you do.
It's the
like-
freedom to be silly.
Yeah.
It's the freedom to be silly
Freedom to be silly.
without being judged or like.
Yes,
have the
have fun pretty
consequences.
much overall.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily
So
mean
you,
like.
and you can't do this during the day.
Well, during the
well,
day.
we can. Like it's not really hurting anybody, but
it's
like
just
the looks.
Yeah, it's
the
just
looks.
So you are aware that what you're doing is not okay.
look.
Not in the sense that like it's hurting everybody. In the sense of like public image.
Okay, so you're aware that you are being harmlessly mischievous.
Yeah.
You are aware that we probably shouldn't be doing this, but it's fun and it's dark, so we can do it. So give me 4 hours to go and have that fun. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, in that sense, or like maybe something like, maybe something more clean. Like we go out for dinner, pretty much,
Uh-huh.
but no one has money, so we just scab someone.
Just but that's actually true. Like sometimes it actually depends what you plan, because sometimes like with your friends you can be like, oh, let's go to the restaurant and eat out with the boys or something, but you could be like, oh, let's just do what you said. I'm not sure what you call that, but like
Just like
that
being silly without consequence
okay,
from the public.
it depends what you actually plan for. That's what you're doing for that night, I think.
That is very true. You know, their Easter show was a few days ago.
Yeah, so most of the people's friends went to the Easter show, buy bags, eat together, stuff like that. It just depends.
You
what
stay out
plan.
for longer that night.
Yeah, just to like play games or like just like enjoy each other's time.
Just hang
Yeah.
around after either way. Like
Because like for us, for example, we go to a school where like everybody comes from like different areas. You know what I mean? So we're friends with like someone from North Kellyville, but we can also be friends with someone from Fairfield.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not like local, so we're
Yeah.
very separated.
Mm-hmm.
And just with that connection and like given how long we knew each other and stuff like that, it's just like the time we spent together is what brings us like that makes us out those nights like longer.
Okay, and yourself, Patrice, what would you get up to when you're out with friends?
For example, like if I went out with my friends, let's say for example, like if I go out with my friends, if I made a promise to my parents that I'm going to go out with a couple of my mates, and then if I'm going to go at this time, then it doesn't mean for me to go somewhere else different and do something very naughty, because obviously if for example, like as a child, because basically I'm 18 now, if I do something, for example, like if I make a promise to my parents, say that I'm going to go to this place with two of my mates, and instead of that, if I go somewhere else, if I do something bad in a different place, basically what's going to happen, for example, like if I say I'm going to go out and eat with my boys, and instead of that, if I go out somewhere else and then do bad stuff, obviously my parents will still find out, because basically if someone in public sees you doing something very inappropriate, they will obviously report you, and you will get in trouble, and your parents will find out, and your parents will lose trust in you.
Yeah.
So basically it's good to keep the trust real and not dodge your parents, and never let them, and what I mean by dodge is that never let your parents down. When you say you don't, for example, if your parent tell you said you're going to make this promise, don't let me down, also I won't do this for you anymore. And if you say okay, and if you do it, then that's not good to put your parents down. Because you have to respect your parents too, because your parents raised you, your parents brought you to this world, because they provide everything for you. Without your parents, there's no life.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
And yeah, like as you guys are talking, something that I think will naturally evolve from this is, because like we're talking about, we just want to jump on trolleys or who knows what it may. I don't know how many trolleys you can jump. I don't know how many trolleys you can
It's just an
jump
example.
on. I know. I'm just saying. I don't know how many trolleys you can jump on in a year. But anyway, the point is like peer pressure. Clearly, you're going to be getting up to stuff, and here we are, I'm a parent, I'm responsible for you, and I just want you to get to 18 with your bones intact, your head on your shoulders, and then you can go out into the world. And here you are trying, before you get to that stage, you want to go and do all of this stuff. And like you said, we'll be sort of treading the line of what is naughty, what is legal, what is right. And of course, you're going to be hanging out with other people. What about the peer pressure? And when we're talking about maybe the friends we don't know about, and maybe there's some we do know about and would rather you didn't hang out with them. But anyway, like with your group, whatever, there's going to be peer pressure. Have you guys ever I'm sure you've experienced it, and have you succumbed to it, and just what are the consequences? And looking at that from our perspective, like how do you appreciate that responsibility we have with that concern that we have?
Well, it just mostly ties into like how I was raised, like how we were raised in a sense. Your trust-free kid, in my opinion, mostly comes from how like you raised them, how involved you were in their life. So if you know like they're like easily succumb to peer pressure, like they're the type to like do anything to like be popular, like fit in, then maybe you shouldn't let them go out. Maybe you shouldn't let them do this, because what if they want to maybe like do drugs to look cool, you know what I mean, or like smoke like to look good for like this other group of people, you know what I mean? And it's just like how well do you think you raised them enough to say, listen, I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to do this, and like how well they have like self-control, you know? So like for example, like I had like times where like people would like pre-pressure me like, hey, come with us, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, this and that, but like I just felt like, no, I just want to stay home, I just want to be by myself. It's not even like anything serious like that, like it's illegal stuff, but like it's mostly just like going out, but for me, I like to go out, but like I don't like going out every single day. Like for me, like I need time to be like by myself, like I need time to have space for myself and just recharge, because when I'm always like out and like socializing too much, like I just drain my energy too much, and I just don't want to talk to anybody. But like if someone's saying like, oh come, there's gonna be like this thingy, we're gonna have so much fun, you know what I mean, like, and I have an assignment due, right, I have enough self-control to be like, listen, I appreciate the offer, but I'm just gonna do this for now. Then I'll come up with another excuse on why I didn't do this time. But yeah, just self-control and like how much you know your kid is what really important for me, and that's where the trust like kind of like comes in.
I actually have like 2 points on what he said. One of like peer pressure is really powerful because like one of the points like peer pressure, for example, like we were at school, like this was like 3 years ago, and like we were all with the boys on the oval, and then we're like, yeah, let's have a go, like fight, and then
Okay.
so we got peer pressured to like box at each other, and yeah, the result was suspension. So you see, peer pressure.
Wait, you guys got suspended.
Yeah,
Not me.
like
I
year
wasn't there yet. I wasn't at the school yet.
year 8 or something, year
yeah,
9.
interesting.
I can't remember, but yeah. So that was one of the times I remember peer pressure because we didn't even want to do it, and we got forced into like boxing because like
Was it older kids or was it
no,
your
yeah,
Especially the boys.
Group, like,
just the boys of our grade. Because like one of the things was, if you don't do it, you're scaredy cat. You don't look good. Like you want to be like cool and stuff. But the other part of that peer pressure is that him saying like you might have the principle and the dedication to do your assignment, but like you always have that thought that I'm missing out, man. My friends are having fun. I should have went. Maybe I should go, and just like the fear of missing out. I think that also plays a role. Yeah.
or like regrets in that area, like not having any regrets, like, oh, maybe I should have done that, maybe I should have done this. Just mix it up.
But do you know like if it's right or not?
Yeah, that's
That's the main reason why you say no. You know what I mean? Because when you get into bad habits, it's always like through like someone introduces you to it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be like, or like drugs or smoking. It can be like other like things that can harm you in the long term. You know what I mean?
that relates back to your friends, doesn't it?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly
Yeah.
your environment that makes you,
Yeah, like
in a sense, and that's why like relating back to like how like to our parents and their point of view, it's mostly like what are they getting into, like what are they surrounding themselves with that can influence them.
I reckon if your parents know who you're playing with, they'll allow you to go out more often, as to not
Yeah.
being like, because if your parents know, oh yeah, Kyan, you're going to see Gian, okay, fine, go. I know Gian does this, he's fine. They're good together. So like, if your parents actually know who you're going with and like what you guys are doing, I think your parents won't be as reluctant to say, no. I think they'll allow you more often to go. Yeah.
I think I mentioned that
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah, it's true, and I think it's really important that point, because like what you understand, it's always like you're coming from your perspective, you are struggling, you're really fighting for that freedom and that responsibility, you want to be trusted, and then we're coming from the point of view that, look, I mean, if something happens to you, it's our problem, you see, if something happens, when you're all good as you are, you're going out, you're messing around, and then you break your arm, then I have to rush from work, and then I have to pick you up, take you to the hospital. You're my problem. So we have to now look at, I'm responsible for you. So who are you hanging with? At least it makes sense that if, like if maybe something happens, an incident happens, then the police come and they say, who's responsible here? Then I say, oh, it's me. They're like, so you were letting your child do this? Then now I am in trouble for giving you this freedom you're yearning for. So you see, there has to be that balance. And like he's saying, at least if, you got hurt, but you were at Gian's place. Like, but I know Gian, and I think if this happened, this was an exception. That it was a safe bet to let you go there, But I mean, things will happen naturally, but it was unfortunate. But if it says, where did you let him go? I don't know where he went. Then I am clearly in the wrong. As a responsible adult, I cannot have that on my conscience. So that's something we struggle with as parents on our side of that equation. I don't know, maybe Patrice, if you have anything to say.
What you said is totally true, because do you know how you said because sometimes if we go out with friends, some of our friends can use us for inappropriate things. For example, if our friend says to us stuff like, can you do this? Or we won't be a friend anymore. And that's basically putting you in danger sometimes. And if something bad happens to you, just like what you said, and then if the police gets involved, basically our parents will be in trouble, because our parents will because basically basically the police will ask our parents that why did you allow your child to go out with this person, with this particular person? Look what they did to your child, and you are responsible for them if they go to hospital. And then the parents can also get charged too at the same time. So therefore, I think it's more safer for our parents to know who's our friend and who we want to hang out with in order to meet everyone's satisfaction and not have any problems.
I actually have an example like him, like
Yeah, that's right.
because like
Who's him?
oh Patrice, like Patrice,
Yeah.
because like he had a birthday, so I went to his birthday. I met his mum and his dad, and then it was fine, and like we like built a trust from there. So from knowing their parents, his parents ended up saying, if Rodney asks you to come out, it's fine because I know Rodney. And so I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
That reminds me of a quote right now. I'm not sure who said it, but it was like, a person was like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Okay, so what are we seeing here? Are
Depends.
you happy with your futures?
I'm pretty happy. I mean,
That's good. That's good. At least you're aware of that, because I think it's a concern, because you know, you guys, once you turn 18, well, you're now let loose on the world, you know, and that's, well, maybe you've turned 18.
no, not yet.
But anyway, like once you become, and you know, when you're 18, you're still very young. That's one thing we also appreciate as adults. Yes, you're legally, you can do whatever you want, but you are a very young person, because literally the day before your 18th birthday, you were a kid. Now all of a sudden you know everything. Maybe not so. So yeah, I think it's important to be careful and, you know, just to try and be as responsible as you can be as you learn and as you go along. Now just maybe just out of interest, I know our time is running out, but I just thought I'd ask this. I know you guys all go to the same school. It's an Adventist school, it's a Christian school, but I was just curious. Do you guys, your relationship with God, has that played an impact in how you relate with your friends and with this particular group of friends, and how has that helped you or played any impact, if at all? Maybe it's a yes, maybe it's a no. I'm just curious to know.
I'll say yes. You know, this
How?
decisions that I make that obviously I have to think like they may be important ones because I've been raised in the church.
Oh, that's nice.
So my parents always told me like if you're gonna do something, just think of the consequences, and always try to relate, because I'm something like, because I'm an Adventist, try to relate like what will like, you know, some Jesus do in some cases, like, you know, just try to do the good thing pretty much.
It's cliche, but it's true. Yeah.
And also like yeah, I just agree with the same thing. Like the experience with God, I think it, like for example, don't take drugs. It's a good thing because like you're saving yourself from many troubles that drugs can bring. So like having a relationship with God, I think it's a benefit in lots of ways.
Yeah, just like a connection with God, and just like how He's gonna play, how He does it. You know what I mean? And like how He affects you in your life. Because when you're going for your parents, you're going for your parents. They can't understand. They have like a drone like following you around. Like they can't really like.
We wish we had one.
You can get creative. But yes, just like, but God, He's always watching you. So it affects like, especially if you have that like that stone cold belief, you always think twice of like, what are you gonna do next? How is He gonna like see it? How is He gonna judge it? You know what I mean? So just having that overseer like aspect in your life affects like the many things you're gonna do. And I feel like you're relating back, just like summing it all up in a Christian point of view. How is your child's relationship with God, and like how does it like relate to like how you trust them, if they have like a fear of God, not in like the bad sense, but like in the sense of like respect. So yeah.
Okay, and Patrice?
What these two young blokes said, I totally agree with them, because drugs is bad. Basically, drugs, like, it depends, because illicit drugs is very dangerous because it does cause you a lot of trouble, and what Rodney said is totally true. Because also it's good to have a relationship with God, because taking drugs feeds you nothing. It just, I know, because it's very addictive. I know, because once you take drugs and you are badly under the influence of drugs. So therefore, as an individual, I would stay away from drugs. I would never ever take any type of drugs, because it doesn't help you anything. It's just going to make your life worse. It's going to shorten your life. It's going to make you go crazy. You're going to be out of your mind. You're going to lose your memory. You can also get brain cancer from drugs. You can get a heart attack. Anything can happen at any time. You know what I mean? So therefore, yeah, it's good to stay away.
All right.
That's it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. You guys really interesting answers, really interesting guys, and I wish maybe we can do this again, and you guys can all come back. It would be really great. Yeah, maybe part 2 of Infinity. Who knows? But it would be really great to have you guys again. I've really enjoyed our conversation. I've learned a lot, and I think we've all learned a lot as parents and even as young people. And I guess what can I remember from this conversation? If you're year 12, you should be home by 10 o'clock on a weeknight. Parents, back away. No helicopter parenting. And yes, try and have that relationship with your kids. But, you know, I think it's the balance. And I think that's what we're trying to get to. And I think we really need to work on it. And I think the balance will always come on an individual basis. What you call balance may not be what he calls balance. So I think as parents, we just need to temper our relationship specific to our children. So yeah, I think that's something of the things we got and really enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thanks again, guys, for coming and showing up and really giving us some great information. I hope to see you soon and have a great week.
Thank you.